Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive.
Good morning everyone. How are you? Get on in here, grab your coffee, your tea, whatever your morning vice might be. I don't know what's going on here in my little world today, but Restream is acting kind of wonky, internet's acting kind of wonky, so if we go down, I didn't go without a fight. Welcome in everybody. Dolphin, good to see you. Pammy, Sunflower, always good to have you here. Sorry guys, Carrie, Forrest, welcome in. I know Butterfly had an appointment this morning, so she'll be in a little bit later. Sorry guys, I was chewing something up. That's so rude of me. I had to get part of that gummy down. Drinking my coffee. So we got a packed show, guys. We got a lot to go over today. Lots to go over, actually. Okay, so in the Rex Heuermann case, I don't know how many of you guys have been following what's happening over there. But they were waiting to have a big Fry hearing. It's the same thing as a Daubert hearing, and it's to test the validity of evidence coming into a case. And the judge has to decide, this, yes, we can allow this in. No, we're not going to allow it in. So they've been waiting on this Fry hearing in New York over this nuclear DNA. It's never been allowed in a court in New York before. This will be the first time, and the judge has granted it. So we're going to take a look at that document and see what they're talking about in that case. Carrie, you following? Cool. I've been following it since it happened, right? Since they got that big ogre, whatever he is. So it's kind of cool they're going to allow that in. It's really controversial, the technique used, the company that's doing it. There's a lot, right, to unpack with it. And I've been following along with it. There's no cameras allowed in New York, so we don't get the hearings. We just get, actually, Catch Lisk does a fantastic job of keeping us updated on what's going on and bringing the documents forward that we need. So appreciate Catch Lisk on X. Jet, welcome in. And MB Inc. Oh my goodness, I can't say enough for my buddies that hook us up on the Twitters when we need something. They're very good about that. Okay. So we're also going to get into a little Mickey Stein's business. Oh boy. So last night I was like, I'm bored. What am I couldn't go to sleep. Like, I didn't know what was happening to myself. One of my usual can't sleep kind of nights. So I got up and I went outside for a bit, and I sat and I went and I kind of bummed around the Twitter's streets for a moment. Well, I went to go check out what Elizabeth's been doing over at Hillbilly Crime. And I watched an episode last night and I was like, oh my goodness. Girl, there's a lot going on in Letcher County. So I do encourage you guys to go watch her, and you may not follow along with some of what she's talking about if you don't know the people she's talking about, right? But she's unpacked all of that for a long time over there. Um, how come the usual innocence community isn't taken up for old Rex Onyx in the YouTube streets, right, Sunflower? Like, he couldn't have been the one to do it. That wasn't him buying all those throwaway burner phones. That wasn't him calling up his victims afterwards and tormenting the families. That wasn't him digging around in the basement down there. Shoot. Speaking of which, digging around in basements, I don't know why that just prompted me to think. Well, I do know why. I saw a picture over here. I got loaded up. So tonight is going to be the ABC 2020, I think it is, episode of the Idaho 4 case. And looking at the trailer, you could absolutely see they got more photos from Koberger's phone than Dateline even had. A couple more photos that he allegedly took on his phone of himself. He was one of them selfie taking people. You know, you got tired of all that on Facebook. The lady with the duck face girls constantly. It's like, come on, chick, calm down. We all know what you look like. Koberger apparently enjoyed taking selfies as well. Ugh. Pammy, she says, right? That wasn't his manifesto to-do list either, right? Note to self, that DNA will get me every time. I shouldn't have thrown away that pizza. All right, and then, of course, Mr. Koberger, the gift that never stops. 2020 paid top dollar. Dolphin, you ain't lying, girl. I don't know. And the pictures clearly say Latah County. And Plunder, I think, if my memory is serving me right, because I watched a lot of stuff the other night. I feel like when I watched Plunder, she had specifically asked about some photos. They're like, we have not released any of that. Oh, and by the way, Paula is working hard to fight Pennsylvania to get documents and body cams and all of that. So people are really, really trying. They've been trying, and they're doubling down on it. Because now Pennsylvania wants to pop off with, we got some little law about too much time has passed and you can't request that now. Excuse us? Time has passed. When? What kind of fancy rule is that, Pennsylvania? When we all know for a fact people were putting in requests for that body cam the minute they realized a body cam existed, right? You'll have to go watch the trailer. You haven't seen it, Dolphin. It's pretty good. I don't know if we will learn anything new from the show, you know what I mean? But I plan to watch it. Yeah, Sunflower, I'm a fan of Paula's. She cracks me up when I don't expect her to say certain things. And then she does, and I just find myself sitting there laughing, going, no, she did not. Yes, she just did. It's funny. It's comical. Okay, so let's get to pulling up this Rex Sherman stuff, and let's get the ogres done. Yeah, her Patreon's a good source of information, Dolphin. I've purchased PDFs from Paula in the past. In the Stearns case, Butterflies purchased a PDF for us. We got a couple of them on our own, but we did go and purchase from her because they were, pretty big files. And heck, I'd rather go pay her the few bucks to get them than have to go do all that myself. It's like, here you go, girl. Sunflower says, PA won't honor FOIAs. They're all sorts of wrong, probably because they have no crosswalks. Koberger made up a new law for them. Do not give out that body cam of me getting arrested. It's highly embarrassing. To who, sir? Mother? All right, let me get Mickey's document pulled up here. And it's weird, guys, because in the Steins case, um, it's not the defense asking for the change of venue. Isn't that crazy? Let me read you this first. And I didn't realize this until I was watching a little bit of Hillbilly Crime. Um, so it looks like right after Mickey was arrested, they did an evaluation on him. Of course, it was sealed. Then there was a document filed recently that was unsealed, but it wasn't supposed to be filed. And it was out there for a few minutes, and certain media outlets did receive it. Then it was taken back out of the docket and redacted and put back. Now, I don't have the unredacted copy. I know Elizabeth would love to have the unredacted copy. I know somebody who's got part of it, but I don't know if they got all of it. So I had to let them know this morning, hey, this is what happened. Do you have the unsealed copy? And I haven't heard back yet. So let me get the screen up here to let you guys in on what's going on here. Okay. Whitesburg, Kentucky, the defense team for former Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins introduced new materials to the court this week, providing more details about the case. Steins is charged with murder after the September 19th, 2024 shooting of District Judge Kevin Mullins in his Letcher County chambers. Defense attorneys submitted several briefs on Tuesday. One document asked the judge to order Stein's competency and criminal responsibility report to be unsealed or allow Steins to use it in his defense. The defense in this case doesn't want anything sealed. They're like, just leave it all out there. Try it in that county. We're good. And the prosecution's like, no. That's weird, but okay. The Commonwealth argued against unsealing the report, saying it would make the evaluation subject to widespread dissemination, further compromising the ability to seat a fair and impartial jury. A motion for change of venue was also submitted by the Commonwealth, requesting to move the trial from the building where the murder occurred to ensure a fair trial. However, the defense team argues there's no reason to move a case that is already national news. Attorneys for Steins also submitted a brief supporting their motion to dismiss the murder indictment based on what they claim are well corroborated mental health concerns that went undisclosed during the original grand jury testimony. And apparently, what came out in the unredacted copies were grand jury testimony. That filing included a transcript of the grand jury testimony in question, which has since been sealed by the judge. In the now sealed document, the trooper testifies that based on public rumor about inappropriate relationship between Stein's daughter and Judge Mullins, Stein's family was questioned about the connection. However, Stein's wife and daughter denied any allegations of having any contact whatsoever with Judge Mullins. Outside of the call that Steins is reported to have made to his daughter from Mullins' phone, investigators say there was no other reported contact between the two. The supporting documents claim investigating detective Clayton Stamper falsely testified to not being aware of Steins displaying signs of mental health issues. The document claims KSP did interviews with several people close to Steins who shared concerns about his mental state. In the sealed transcript, Stamper told the grand jury people did express concerns because he wasn't acting himself. According to the filing, co-workers reported claims of paranoia about his family being harmed and his home being watched. I wonder who could have been doing all that. They say one of the witnesses also disclosed a situation one day before the shooting in which Steins claimed a local attorney demanded he give them money and then die by suicide, or they were going to kill his wife and daughter. Wow. That's what Mickey reportedly told them. I think Elizabeth knows who that person is. WYMT also obtained body cam footage from KSP showing Steins continually asking to be treated fair. He did. That's true. Y'all treat me fairly, boys. Y'all don't hurt me. Don't kill me. This ain't the way to the jail. That's the way he was talking. A little Kentucky. That's all good. We can hang in the holler. Reports discussed in the brief included a medical record that claims Stein saw a doctor the day before the shooting, accompanied by his friends who are concerned about his level of stress and loss of sleep. What could have been making Mickey lose his shit like this? I don't know, maybe an investigation? There are multiple other witnesses who state similar observations and opinions. The KSP investigation is Detective Stamper's investigation. Given the overwhelming evidence of Mr. Stein's mental state prior to and immediately following the shooting, Detective Stamper had no clear basis for testifying that Mr. Steins was in his sane mind. The Commonwealth is not required to put on exculpatory evidence nor evidence demonstrating lack of criminal responsibility. However, the Commonwealth is not permitted to mislead and provide clearly false testimony when asked by the grand jury. The document claims the Commonwealth was cherry picking the information it shared with the grand jury. Boy, where have we heard that before? It goes on to imply a link between the stress and anxiety presented by Steins and a civil case that is reported to have taken place in Mullins Chambers. On September 20th, 2024, KSP interviewed Daniel Dotson. Dotson says he told defendant to seek a mental health evaluation prior to the shooting, and defendant told him he was going to see a family doctor. Dotson said the defendant never threatened him or Judge Mullins, but he was so concerned about Mickey's demeanor, he contacted the Kentucky Bar Association to determine what action he could take. The document said Dotson also told KSP that he spoke to Mullins and told him that Mickey was losing it and couldn't take this kind of pressure in reference to the civil suit. He told Mullins that. And he spoke to the KSP, the Bar Association, on top of that, too. In his testimony, Detective Stamper said there is an active lawsuit against the sheriff's office that was ongoing and seemed to be the nature of his issue that was going on with him based on what these people told us. He said he did not have knowledge of Mullins' involvement in the case. The support documents also included a triage assessment for Leslie County Detention Center, which claims Steins was in an active state of psychosis 4 days after the shooting. He appears disoriented and is only aware of things the jail staff tell him. He has no recollection of the recent past. Like he don't remember the shooting the judge and all of that. He appears disoriented and is only aware of things we tell him. He does report that he has some paranoia because he is unsure where he is at, and is told he is incarcerated, wrote a social worker. He does not appear to understand his charge and is unaware of his surroundings. He denies any suicidal and homicidal ideations. He does present to be responding to internal stimuli during this evaluation. Steins should continue at high-risk level. He has episodes of combativeness, which was required pepper spray. Oh, Mickey done got combative with the sheriff's department there, and they pepper sprayed him. Defense attorneys argued the original indictment was based on a grand jury that did not have all the information relevant to the case. They usually never do. And usually a lot more develops once they have met. That's crazy that he was so combative they had to use pepper spray. I wonder if that was a one-off or if that was a multiple time thing. Yeah, Woozy's down there. Woozy, have you made it down there yet? Joe got there yesterday. He sent me a message, so I know he got down there okay. Yeah, Woozy, it's still up in the air if he actually called the daughter, or he did call his aunt when he was sitting there at the desk with Mullins. That's on the phone. You can clearly tell. And Hillbilly Crime has a great video on that. But there's still speculation about the daughter, right? And I think it all comes down to if Mickey really felt like that daughter was in jeopardy and somebody did threaten her, of course he's running around going, "Where's my daughter? What are you doing with my daughter?" Right? And then boom, rumors are born. Her Someone came on Facebook very early on. He claimed to be her brother, or at least the half brother, and somehow related to her, and flat out denied any of those rumors. So I never put stock in like that was a fact, right? You're right, it's all speculation. But if Mickey's being threatened and the family's being threatened, I could absolutely see him running around saying that. And he was saying in the body cam videos, y'all be good to me, treat me fair, don't hurt me. Where are you taking me to? All these, you know, didn't even know what Miranda rights were. It's like, Mickey, are you for real right now? You're the sheriff. How do you not know what the Miranda right was? Did you lose it that bad? you know? Hey, Renee, welcome in. So he doesn't appear to know his charges, and he's over there getting pepper sprayed. Defense attorneys argue the original indictment was not, they didn't have enough information. Detective Stamper testified to multiple false statements before the grand jury. This testimony prejudiced Mr. Steins and resulted in an indictment, said the brief. Had the Commonwealth presented truthful and accurate testimony to the grand jury, the outcome would likely have been different. The defense wants to dismiss the indictment and had the case presented again before a grand jury. What does the defense have a say-so in what the Commonwealth puts before a grand jury? So they're like, nope, scrap this, start over. With plans still in place to go for an insanity defense, the Commonwealth submitted a motion of intent, saying the plan to have a private specialist examine Stein's mental health for a second time. The defense team responded, saying Steins had already undergone a psychiatric evaluation. They should not be allowed to obtain another evaluation simply because the initial KCPC eval is unfavorable to their case. The judge has not yet responded to the motions. You met Nate Eaton? Nice. I didn't go through the whole list of who's doing what and where and all the times. When Joe was here the other day, we went through that one list, right? Of the guest speakers, I think it was. Yeah, right, Dolphin? I agree. Mickey's like, no, boys, I'm not going down alone. I think that's what was going on here. So let's take a look at that document real quick, and then we're going to move on because there's quite a few Koberger documents we need to look at. Yeah, y'all give her some. We're all like, do this, do that, go see this person, go see that person. There's some cool things happening down there, the exhibits and all of that, and the different things you can go and be a part of and experience. So you guys will be having a really good time. Okay, let me motion to change the venue for Mickey Steins. Isn't it odd to hear the prosecution want that over the defense team? All right, let me get it pulled up. Oh, my back just cracked. All right. Tricia, are you far from there? You may go watch the trial. Joe tossed around the idea of going down there a little bit. He's not terribly far. So far, I don't think they've had a. They may have a date on the books, but I think it's going to change with so much going on, right? Unless they keep it on track. All right, so this is the Commonwealth has filed the petition to change the venue. Commonwealth by and through the undersigned Assistant Attorney General and Commonwealth's Attorney for the 27th Judicial Circuit and pursuant to KRS codes there are hereby petitions this honorable court for a change of venue. Requires a circuit judge to move the trial of a criminal action to an adjacent county if it appears the defendant or the state will not receive a fair trial in the county where the prosecution is pending. Is prosecution a little afraid that town's like enough's enough? We've had it. Mickey's not guilty. They're concerned about Mickey getting the fair trial, or are they concerned about them getting the fair trial? If they thought half the community or more were like, oh my God, Mickey, how could you do that? We love this judge. He didn't deserve this. Then you're going to get a conviction. But if you got a town full of people saying, oh boy, we're done, you're not going to get a conviction. So I find this super interesting, and they're going to spin it. Y'all know they are. We're worried about you, Mickey. Boy, Ann Taylor over there doing all them surveys and jurors and get this venue changed now, not later. And they're over here in this defense going, not so fast. We don't want to go nowhere. You found Nancy Grace right off the bat, Woozy. It can't be hard to miss her, right? Nancy's like the goat of true crime, one of them from back in the day. Nancy's like, hold my beer, Casey Anthony, in 20 years, 25, however damn long it's been. I'm going to go plop a desk down in front of Idaho murder house and wear a fur coat and bring you the news from outside where it's freezing cold for dramatic purposes. I'm like, lady, you could get a studio. It's a little warmer. Nancy, you got to take Nancy with a big old grain of salt, don't you? If you can't, don't watch her. Nancy's fun. It's like when she gets all about but then it gets annoying sometimes when you watch a mainstream media piece and you know they just got something really wrong. You're like, oh man, oh man, you just got that so wrong. And you told all them people watching. But okay. If the judge is satisfied that a fair trial cannot be had in an adjacent county, he may order the trial to be had in the most convenient county in which a fair trial can be had. How many counties away do they think this thing needs to go? The right to change a venue is also inherent in due process clause of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, in which the U.S. Supreme Court held where there is a reasonable likelihood that prejudicial news prior to trial will prevent a fair trial. The judge should continue the case until the threat abates or transfer to another county. Okay, Ann Taylor, the threat's never going to abate as long as there's an active pending trial. Do we wait for 10 years until we all quit talking about it? They're getting ballsy, these attorneys. Like, shh, the minute y'all say our client's name, we're done 10 years later. Trying to shut us up. That's what I feel like y'all are doing. They're just trying to shut us up. Huh. Damn it, man. Okay. In the case of the Brewster court interpreted Shepard as requiring a change of venue when there has been prejudicial news coverage. It occurred prior to trial. The effect of such news coverage is reasonably likely to prevent a fair trial. Now, what in the news with a video floating around of the actual crime? I mean, you got the guy on video. What are they worried about? Sounds fishy to me. This case is unique in that the scene of the crime happens to be the courthouse in which the defendant is reporting for pretrial conferences, status hearings. It's not funny, but it kind of is, and could potentially be tried in. Yeah, where all the deeds were done, most of them. Except when you wanted the swing action, you had to go to one of their law houses. What? And we'll see later in the documents, I think somebody was obsessed with the sex swings. And we heard the girls say they absolutely had those in those houses that they had stashed around town. Further, both the defendant, Letcher County Sheriff Sean Steins, which is Mickey Steins, and the deceased victim, Letcher County District Judge Kevin Mullins, are both public officials who were voted upon by the residents of Letcher County to serve in their respective roles. Every eligible voter in Letcher County either had a reason to vote for or against the defendant and the victim at one time. The preconceived opinions as to the character and ability of these two men is likely to irreconcilably prejudice both the Commonwealth and the defendant. Will it prejudice the Commonwealth more? If people, according to the ladies, everybody in the town knows this has been happening, and we're a part of it at some level. Looking beyond any preconceived prejudice that Letcher County contains may have the county has been inundated with media attention ranging from local to national news sources. They have even been a GoFundMe established to monetarily support the defendant's family, raising over $9,000. The pre-established opinions of the deceased victim and the defendant, accompanied by the mass pretrial publicity, has prejudiced both parties and would likely prevent a fair trial from taking place in Letcher County. Although this case has been given substantial attention by the media, it is not the amount of publicity which determines the venue should be changed. It's whether the public opinion is not so permeated with publicity. Are they scared we're all watching hillbilly crime and all their dirty little secrets are flying out everywhere? Oops, close that closet. That skeleton just fell out. This case is unique in that the scene of the crime happens to be the courthouse in which the defendant is reporting for all of his pretrials. The deceased victim is the judge. Both officials were voted in. Okay. Looking beyond, oh, I think I slipped back. I see what I did. Oh, my thingy's not working right. Whoa, get up there. There we go. There we go. Now maybe I can. There we go. Okay, so now they come into showing all the media coverage. Report Kentucky Sheriff and family spat before shooting the judge. And the headlines that came from that. Mickey Steins fought with wife before shooting the judge. That rumor was out there. Judge asked Mickey Steins to come to his chambers. Fox News, Kentucky judge Killian Chambers, accused of trading sexual favors for influence at wild parties. That's the accusation. And they even list Taya here. Taya Adams told News Nation she would attend sex parties for District Judge Kevin Mullins and his friends in the small rural town of Whitesburg in exchange for money to get offenders out of trouble. Remember, we saw Taya's interview with Enton, and then on court TV as well. The image of them sitting in the chambers. That's the image of Mickey sitting in the hallway when he was arrested. That's him and his daughter and his wife. And that's the an image from the GoFundMe. So again, though, I mean, who is this publicity hurting the most, right? Is it Mickey or is it the Commonwealth? Does it jeopardize their case if people in town are like, you know what? Mickey just did what we were all thinking. What he did was wrong. There's no justification for what he did. Because honestly, if the judge was involved in all of this the way Taya claims, and I have no reason to doubt her, it would have been nice to have him be able to stand trial, right? Especially when I go back and know that this is a lot of it's tied into the drug thing they had going on there. How the pastor was involved with the drug rehabilitation centers. It was a big scheme, it seems like. And then that video that I have watched where the judge is sitting on the picnic table next to the lake and the girls are sitting around him and he's going on and on and on about his program to help save these girls. And I'm thinking to myself, knowing what I'm learning now, that video is horrible. I've got to find what I did with it to show you guys again. I looked the other night, I was sitting outside and thought about it, and I didn't see it in my history. But we watched it on a live one day here early on. So I'm going to have to go back. Anyway, it goes on and on and on, guys, about all the media coverage. So we'll have to wait and see what the judge decides there, you know. If you were the judge, what would you decide? Would you side with the Commonwealth or would you side with the defense on this? I feel like they might move it just to be safe. Right? Right, Sunflower? These lawyers coming out with arguments like this case is different. My client, victim in this case, is not very likable. Woozy. Bring Joe out of his shell, right? Talk incessantly. You said, "Are you me?" Y'all know I can do some talking. Yeah, they may have a case for change of venue. I agree. I mean, it's not the defense asking for it like usual, so it's odd to hear it from the prosecution, but I get it, but also get why they probably want it changed. It feels like they may be a little worried that people in town might support Mickey a little bit more than they want them to. I mean, you can't get the guy off, but in Kentucky, they do have that extreme emotional disturbance defense they can use, and that's what they're doing. You kept dragging Joe to all the famous people. Well, that's the whole point, right? Let's go see the famous people. Let's go see them. Okay, so let me pull up this document on Rex Heuermann so we can get that moving along. And I believe I knew months ago they were going to take a look at this. I did not review it, but I know there's I think I saw two different news clips where the JonBenet Ramsey case is watching what's happening with this Rex Heuermann case because of the nuclear DNA. Can it help in John Bonet's case? Will it help? Don't know yet, because we don't know what they got as far as the DNA. And when I looked up this lab, this forensic analysis lab, they can work with degraded DNA and things like that, which piqued my curiosity for another case. But maybe we'll see. We have a really great photo of us with Ray. Oh, yay! Love Ray. He and his wife are so beautiful inside and out. He's such a great guy. I've been in other streams where he's popped in. Over at the docket, we were in a show there. I forget if it was Stearns or what we were. It might have been something to do with Lori. I don't remember now, but it's been a minute since her other trials ended. But Ray popped into chat. It ended up coming on panel, and it was a great conversation. It was like out of nowhere, but he had another guy on panel too. I don't recall the guy's name, but he knew Ray, whoever the guy was. And so anyway, Ray ended up joining them. He's about 3 inches taller. Oh, you are 3 inches taller than him. Woozy, I wondered if I was. I'm like 5'3". Like, I'm petite. So I'm like, I always heard that Ray was a short guy. Hey, no shade. All right, let me get the ogre's thing pulled up here. Rex Heuermann. On March 28, 2025, April 2nd of 2025, April 3rd, April 15th, 16th, 17th, and June 17th, June 18th, and July 17th, all of 2025, a hearing was conducted by the court pursuant to Fry versus United States. As to the admissibility of nuclear DNA, as well as any expert testimony pertaining to said nuclear DNA, results obtained from rootless hairs recovered from the person and or crime scene. Now, rootless hairs, they will not test those rootless hairs in Delphi. The only possible DNA you have in that case, because you don't have Rick Allen's DNA. Not touched, not transferred, not shedded, not nothing. Certainly none of his spit. But they found some hairs. And they also found a hair wrapped around one of the victim's fingers. There was no root. We can't test those hairs. That was the claim. But why can't we pop off with some nuclear DNA testing? Because y'all said it was still an open investigation. Don't you think they'd want to know whose hairs those were, even if they were family members? Because they got one of the victims' moms believing that you washed your clothes in the same washing machine, so therefore transferred DNA of your hair got around the finger of that little girl. Possibly, but we need to find out whose hair it is to be sure. Dr. Harris testified that she is a population geneticist and has been an associate professor at genome sciences at the University of Washington. Whoa, University of Washington, since Dr. Harris, since 2018. Dr. Harris also holds a position at Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center, where she gives research updates and exchanges ideas in computation biology. She also published 40 peer-reviewed articles, with most of them concentrating on whole genome sequencing, the process which you obtain DNA from everywhere across the whole genome and analyze all or most of it. After receiving her bachelor's degree from Harvard, Dr. Harris went on to receive her master's degree in biology from Cambridge University. Her master's degree thesis involved calculating the reliability of genetic identity over a stretch of genome when you can assume that all of the sites of the genome you observe are likely the same because of recent ancestry. This is extremely helpful when the sample collected only contains a small amount of DNA, and statistical analysis is used to check the reliability. Harris used the 1000 Genomes Project in her research with a which is reference panel containing sets of genomes. So they go through how she conducts her information and all her education. Dr. Harris noted that she is not an expert in forensic science. Technology on the market has been generally accepted by the scientific community to develop the DNA profile. And I don't think this has been used a lot in a lot of court cases. It has been used a couple of times. I think it was in California when it was first introduced and used, but never in New York. So this will be the first time. So she has to submit everything for the court to evaluate and go over to make their decision. S&P DNA is used in medical genetics, forensic identification, etc. According to Dr. Harris, the best method to develop a DNA profile when you are dealing with a short fragment of DNA is whole genome sequencing. In addition, Dr. Harris testified that using a computer program to calculate a likelihood ratio of statistical significance in whole genome sequencing DNA profiles is widely accepted in the DNA community or scientific community. Yeah, hair doesn't just wrap itself around the finger. She slid the sweatshirt back on, and would it have wrapped around her finger? Exactly. And that wasn't the only hair. There was a couple. So they got more to work with, right? Harris explained a test where IBD gem was used to compare a hair sample to the saliva of the person whom the hair sample came from, as well as another test where IBD gem was used to compare a hair sample from an individual with saliva of a different individual who did not give their hair sample. The likelihood ratio for the first test, the hair sample and saliva sample from the same individual, was up to 200 times more likely that the hair and saliva came from the same individual. So is that how they're doing it? Testing the hair follicle against a saliva of the known subject. In contrast, the likelihood ratio for the second test, hair and saliva from two different individuals, was up to 400 times more likely that each sample was not from the same individual. Dr. Harris testified that 1000 Genomes Project is the best public reference panel to use when calculating the likelihood ratios in population and genetics. Okay, so then it goes on to more of her education. It will not let me scroll fluently because I don't have my little button options not there. And this is a Dr. Green who testified. Green testified he's an employee at the University of California in Santa Cruz as a professor in biomolecular engineering and is also the scientific director of the QB3 program. He teaches genome technology classes, which is the technology used to extract DNA out of the sample, then sequence it. So, if there is no evidence that it is not from a single source, then they are confident the DNA came from the single source. Or not the single source DNA, like on that sheath over there in Idaho. Anyway, it's a very long document about the DNA. And in the end, DNA to come in, which is huge considering, I'm just going to get down to they redacted some of that at the very, very, very end. I don't know why. Why is this not working? Okay. Ordered that nuclear DNA results, as well as expert testimony pertaining to said nuclear DNA results obtained from rootless hairs recovered from the persons or crime scene of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, Sandra Castilla, Jessica Taylor, and Valerie Mack are admissible. Each one of those women had a hair follicle. Now they know a couple of those hairs did have roots that they found on the burlap and on the bodies, and those hairs matched the wife and daughter of Rex Heuermann. Transfer DNA. Unless they put their hands on the woman themselves and physically did something. How did the transfer DNA of their hair get to those women? They were in his vehicle. They were in his home, because we know the unalivings occurred, most of them down in the basement. So that's how you explain some transfer DNA. Not that weird touch DNA in Idaho on the sheath. You explain that. Well, I went to a knife show and handled a knife. When was the knife show? Can you provide a date of said show? We might can find some transfer DNA then. It's pretty much logical stuff, right? So we'll have to keep our eye out on how they proceed in the Rex Heuermann case. I'm not even sure when they go to trial over there, because they've had so much movement, and it took days to get that Friday hearing completed, to hear the testimony of the expert witnesses, and then the judge to hand down his decision, right? So, and I know they wanted to sever the cases over there, and I don't believe the judge has made a decision on that. Like, we don't want to come to court and say we got, 5 victims and make our client appear to be a serial killer. He doesn't appear to be one. Looks like he is one. You know how long it would take to move through 5 different cases? And then if you convict on the first, are you going to allow that to be brought in on the second case? Well, he just got convicted of one. Kind of like with Lori when we weren't allowed to talk about all that. Lori wanted to talk about all that. Sorry, guys, I'm having allergies and I had to sneeze, and I didn't think you guys wanted to hear all that. Rex's wife is still living in a world of delusion when the documentary came out, but I wonder if that has changed. I don't know. I watched that documentary too, Woozy. I don't know. What's up with her? It's hard to put your finger on, right? Did this lady know? Did she not know? How could you not? Okay, I get they say you were out of town each time this happened, but the man literally had his phone number attached to a piece of paper in a swingers bar. A lady gave a deposition where she went to the swingers bar with her boyfriend cop, and while they were there near the bathrooms, you know how you could go into the laundromat back in the day and take the little tab off if you wanted the guy to cut your grass or whatever. There was that kind of listing in there. And it's, hey, come to my house, swingers party, whatever. And they took it, and then they went, and it was Rex Heuermann's house. So, and then the girl said that his wife did not want to participate in the activities because the girl they brought with them was of mixed race, and she didn't want nothing to do with that. Like, what? If that's true, then Heuermann's wife was participating in the swinger activities, or at least knew about them. She may not have known what dude was doing in the basement down there in Creepy Town, but she knew he was getting it on with the workers. And I don't know. But she didn't mind having them TV cameras follow her. Well, I hope she got her enough money to fix that house up. Because I'm telling you right now, if my husband was an architect and you made me live in that, I got nothing wrong with living in an old house I might need to fix up, but by God, you need to get this house fixed up, buddy. Run around Manhattan calling yourself the miracle worker. Watch me get your permits to build your fancy little high rise. But don't go looking at my house. Who'd hire you looking at that house? Holy shit. All right, I got to go grab a Coca Cola, and we're going to get busy on some Coburger stuff. Lord, my favorite dude to unpack. I'm getting more deeper into that little warped ass mind of his each and every day. I would have sold that house and moved far away, far, far away. I'd have been like Jenny and prayed God and made me a bird so I could fly far, far away. Jesus, I wouldn't stay in that house either. I couldn't even sleep in there. Did y'all see how packed full it was of stuff to start with? My brain cannot do clutter. But to know that underneath where you're sleeping, bodies were dismembered and hung on that little what was that hook called? I forgot what it's called that he hung from the ceiling. Yeah, disgusting. And then they took us down there on the tour during the documentary. Remember his daughter went down there and went into that little room. Oh, it was like, what creepy. Did they never get curious as kids and sneak to the basement to see what dad was up to? On one of them nights dad was not home? Am I breaking up? Carrie, really? I haven't had that issue in a long time, guys. Let me check something here because I did have a. Well, my internet's connected. Is it breaking up really bad? All right, let me do two things here really quick. Let me do this one. Okay. Hey, Dolphin, if you're listening, check your DM if you want it. You got a link if you want it. Um, I sound clear to you, Dolphin? Okay. If you guys in chat, if you're having an issue and I am breaking up, you guys please give us some feedback. All right, cool. Renee and Dolphin are saying they're fine. Forrest is fine. Oh, Carrie, you might be having a little speaker issue. All right, guys, I'm going to go grab a cold drink. I'll be right back and we'll jump into this Coburger stuff. I'll be right back. All righty. I am back. And hello, Dolphin. How are you?
Oh, girl, I am exhausted. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Were you up all night, ma'am?
Yeah, I was. I've been doing that for several days now because I've been working on stuff all week. And I went to the gym at like, I don't know, 6 o'clock this morning to go sit in the sauna. So trying to get rid of a headache, but I'm good now. And I drank a coffee.
But I thought I saw that comment. Holy hell. Did hell freeze over? Did it
Ye-
help?
yeah. Yep.
Good. That you needed that caffeine boost, right?
Apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times Um, my mom used to take this headache medicine. It was, I guess it was for like migraines, but it was prescription, but the majority, it was caffeine. It was caffeine pills.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't ever get headaches. It's very, very rare that I get a headache, but
Mm.
I have a lot of caffeine in me. So, but back hurting is a little different. Okay. So, um,
Yeah, so what have I missed with Coburger?
okay.
This
So,
is new stuff.
let me show y'all. These are the images that I got from. Okay, so tonight's going to be that 2020 episode, and you can see it says
Oh,
Latah
wow.
County. Yeah, yeah, Latah County Prosecutor's Office.
Is that real or is that AI?
These are allegedly images from Koberger's phone,
Oh, okay.
according to the 2020 show. Images, we don't have a timestamp on them or anything like that, so I couldn't tell you which ones were taken morning of, night of, day before, day after, whatever. But apparently these were like ones he sends to mother. Okay, then there was this one.
Oh, why
And
does this guy look so different in every photo?
I don't know, Dolphin, and you can see he's got a little 5 o'clock shadow going on
Mm-hmm.
right here for that well kept. Remember, they were some of the people interviewed were saying that he wasn't as well kept after the crime. Is that right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this was like after that, right? Because now we got the beard starting to happen.
Coburger's gone to shit after the crimes.
Yeah, look, jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang on. Now we got another one. Are y'all ready? Well, hang on. We'll do that one last because it's creepier to me. Then we got this one. Like, look,
Well, that's not a
mother.
bad photo.
Yeah, mother, I feel better today.
Mm, mm,
Okay. So
interesting.
and then of course we all remember this one
Yeah.
again with no shower curtain in that squeaky clean bathroom.
I want to know, besides the shower curtain is there in this picture. It's right here on
Oh,
the
that's right.
right.
That's right. We looked at
Hmm.
that. You're right.
What I want to know is what he used to clean this bathroom because his cabinets were open and there was only a Windex bottle and a bottle of toilet cleaner, like toilet
Scouring
bowl
powder.
cleaner.
Wasn't it? I think it was like scouring powder, or
I
was that in
do
the
remember the
kitchen?
barkeepers, but I think that was in the kitchen.
Well, Joe had asked. We were looking at the pictures, and we were, how clean that bathroom, what the tub and the walls were, right?
Oh
Very
yeah,
clean and
nothing in
shiny.
the grout,
So
nothing.
Joe
Mhm.
says, I could see a plunger in the photo, right?
Mhm.
A plunger. Then
Mhm.
Joe says, no toilet bowl brush. I was like, no, I don't see one. But as I was looking through some of the documents yesterday,
Mhm.
the images, those 700 that came down,
Yeah.
there's an image of a receipt in there. And on that receipt where he bought the broom and the dustpan,
Mhm.
he bought a toilet bowl brush and caddy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, where is it? Did he use bleach and that brush to scrub those walls? Did he wrap the toilet bowl brush up into the shower curtain? I don't know.
Mm. No telling.
I know. Okay, now here's the last image that I captured off of the trailer for the documentary tonight, or the 2020 episode. This is kind of creepy. Y'all get ready. Oh,
Oh wow. What in the world?
I shaved, Mama. Look,
Look, I didn't cut myself.
and no, I'm getting better with my knife.
Oh
Ooh,
god. Yeah. Hmm. Okay.
and there's the shower curtain, loud and proud,
Oh
right
yeah.
there,
Mhm.
nice and white and bright.
Because you know what? I was like, yeah, he's definitely not a, person. He couldn't be a person that didn't shower that showered without one because he had no rug on that bathroom floor, too. He had no bath mat, no towel down on the floor, nothing. So it's like, if he hadn't had a shower curtain, the floor would be constantly wet, you know?
Hmm. Constantly, and he's not going to have that. Well, he might be okay with all that dust, but we can't have that wet floor. It might slip and fall and all that good stuff. Who's going to help
Mhm.
you up? Who? Where did y'all know? Who noticed the bruise? What was that?
It was back up,
Slight
Pammy.
bruise
Yeah.
on his lower hand under the thumb here, like right here
Mhm.
on the right. We can't tell if that's really a shadow or if it is a bruise. His knuckles always look red. You know what I mean? We because even in the Indiana stops, it appears there could be something going on with his hands, but it's so
Mhm.
hard to tell, isn't it, Dolphin?
Yeah. If he has the hypothyroidism issues, could that also maybe have something to do with his circulation? And maybe
Well,
that's why his hands always look
it
red or
it could, but because he's on Synthroid,
mhm.
I don't think he has hyper. He's going to have
Oh,
hypo.
hypo. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Mhm.
gonna be hypo, because hyper, you take a whole different, thyroid med,
Okay.
and this is the one med that highly interacts with the grapefruit as well, the
Mhm.
absorption rate, and we did find out in the document we're gonna look at in a few minutes, it Koberger himself lists one medication that he's currently on at sentencing, and that was thyroid medication. And I've been saying all along he's got thyroid disease because I found that out during the Tapa Talk post
Mhm.
when he would talk about autoimmune,
Yep.
the diet. I knew that that diet was part of the autoimmune stuff, and now it turns out the only medication, according to his filing, is the thyroid medication. But it could be it. I don't know if he's got Graves' disease. I have
Mhm.
Hashimoto's, right?
Right.
Um, I have the opposite of what Graves' disease is, and the fact that he had all that weight on him that he could not lose tells me he had Graves' disease. Graves' disease will also cause bulging eyeballs.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll wonder, I call it a flare up. My body's going to always have this disease. Sometimes it's in remission and I'm perfectly fine. There might be a week where my body is just wreaking havoc and I
Mhm.
flare up and I start having symptoms, right? So I get, it would be the same way with Graves. So there's other times his eyes may look normal,
Mhm.
right? And then there's times then they are not normal.
I kind of think the eyes is just a genetic trait because his sister
I
has the same eyes.
exactly.
Both of them do.
I was about to say with him it's a little harder to tell,
Mhm.
unless you're in person because of the way you're right, the distinctive eyes that they have. Um, and also, if you put psychosis mixed in there with it, you're going to
Mhm.
get a little different look sometimes as well.
A little dash of psychosis. Mm.
Little bit, just a little bit coming out there.
Mhm.
Now, okay. So the Bernhardts have been talking again.
Mhm.
And I wish that somebody would just plop those 2 down on a couch and have a good 2-hour conversation and go over every little detail that you got on that phone data. 'Cause
Yeah.
little bit here comes out,
Yeah.
a little
The
bit
dribs and
there.
drabs are getting
So
old.
what I wanna do, Dolphin, is go and find all the little interviews I can that they've
Mhm.
been doing, and kinda mash them up and see what is said here and what is said there and take note of all of it.
Right.
But one thing they have come out and said recently as so when they looked at the phone data, they can see the phone calls he was making to mother, and there was apparently a lot of them.
Mhm.
At one point on one of their calls, mother sends him a text with a link to an article on the Idaho 4 murders and how one victim, Xanar Carnodal, appeared to have fought back with the attacker.
I wonder how that conversation went.
Right, and he did not respond back to her on the text.
Mhm.
So apparently, whatever conversation they did have was verbal.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Mhm.
I don't know when she sent it. What prompted her to send it? Is it just, you know what? My son's a criminology student, and oh my God, this occurred right
In his
there.
backyard. Mhm.
Yeah, this is right next door, son. What do you mean you haven't heard about it? Let me send you this
Yeah.
link. This poor girl fought back. Like,
Hmm.
what? Mother.
So he was discussing it with her, but not in class or with his cohort. That's very interesting.
Isn't it, though?
Mm-hmm.
Mother got a lot to say.
Because I'm
Oh,
sure he wanted to talk about it, you know?
he did to some
Mm-hmm.
extent, right?
Oh, yeah.
Every time. Oh, there we are. Like, where
I
do
mean,
we.
because if you knew that you did something and it's a big mystery to everybody else, wouldn't you kind of like want to ask people, like, oh, well, what do you think happened? You know?
Especially you're a criminology student. That's
Mm-hmm.
what that's your jams. You're gonna want to
Mm-hmm.
know. Um,
Kind of like those Papa Rogers questions.
I know.
Mm.
I- And how can they can't sit there and say that he's not Papa Rogers if he's over there um wiping everything clean. How do y'all know anything? Y'all don't know nothing apparently. According to Idaho prosecutors, he's just some weirdo that y'all don't need to be looking at. Mm-mm.
Now, you know what, though? So, the wiping everything clean, I think, made it harder for them for the Instagram account. But Facebook is a whole different, situation because Facebook has, like, dates and, links when you're friends because you know how you get the notification, oh, you've been friends with so and so for 10 years, and all that's like in their databases in the background. You know what I mean? And like your timeline and and all that. So there's a lot more that connects you to somebody on Facebook than Instagram. You know?
According to what Heather was saying, he wiped all that he could from that phone, even like his browsing histories and things of that. I don't know where he was surveilling them from. If he was using
Mm-hmm.
it Facebook or if it was Instagram or how anything that dude could wipe off, he was wiping off.
Yeah, I
Off
think he definitely.
so
Yeah, I know that he wiped stuff, but Instagram, I think he must have put in a deletion request for his Instagram account. It takes them about what, 45 days to do it or whatever. And
right.
basically the time between the murders and when they caught him and they were processing him through Pennsylvania is like when that actually kicked off probably and went through. So Instagram was a wash. If he was watching the girls on Instagram and liking things and because Instagram is like Facebook light. So there's not that much. If you friend somebody on Instagram, there's nothing in the background that says, "Oh, you started following this person on such and such a date." You know what I mean? But Facebook, like say for example, if he was Papa Rogers, that has more like linkage between group pages you follow, people you follow,
Mhm.
posts on walls, and you can't really get rid of that so easily. And even if he had put in for like submitted an account deletion, they may still have had it, like been able to get it from Facebook in the background. Whereas it seems like Instagram, they just wipe the stuff, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'd like to I don't know what all she was going to tell Olivia. She said in that one interview that she was going to give her everything she's got. I was like, well, maybe one day we'll get to see it all. Especially when
who,
they
Heather?
Heather said, yeah, she said that they had spoke to the family, and then she said Olivia,
Mm hmm.
and I forget who she was being interviewed by. I said, yes, that's Kaylee's sister.
Mm hmm.
She's like, yeah, we're meeting, or we're gonna meet with her and show her everything. I was like, oh,
Oh.
holy, yeah, that was gosh, a couple of weeks back.
Mm hmm.
So I'm curious to see what if that happens and what the G's do with it because they're not gonna keep that quiet. They're
Right.
gonna be like, this dude did this and that. See, we told you.
Mm hmm.
Ugh. So, all right, let me get this over here. All right, so this was showing up as new like yesterday, along with some other new stuff, but this was literally the second. Okay, I don't know why it just showed up in there. So this is was to be filled out by the defendant, which we all know is Brian C. Koberger in his crazy handwriting. Oops. Let me see. I think we. Where'd it go? Okay, there we go. All right, I had to get my screen right. Okay, Brian Koberger. This was dated 6/29/2025. Of course, his birthday is 11/21/1994. Statement of constitutional rights. Of course, he has initialed it because he has, you have the right to remain silent. You do not have to say anything about the crimes you are accused of committing. If you elect to have a trial, the state may not call you as a witness or ask you questions. If you decide to testify, the state will be permitted to ask you questions, and anything you say can be used as evidence against you in court. I understand that pleading guilty, I am waiving my right to remain silent as to the elements of the crime. Um, and he initialed,
Mm.
and this is the same thing, the waiver of the right to remain silent, otherwise, unless stated in your plea agreement. I understand that pleading guilty to the crime in this case, I still have the right to remain silent with respect to any other crimes and with respect to answering questions or providing information that may increase my sentence. And he initialed that. This says NA, BK. Because he
Mhm.
first he scribbled it out, then I guess he initialed it and then scratched that out. I understand that as a term of my agreement, I waived my right to remain silent with respect to any other crimes and with respect to answering questions, providing information may incorrect. So whatever he did, that's not applied. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you want an attorney and cannot pay for one, you can ask the judge for an attorney. You may be required to reimburse. He initialed. You are presumed to be innocent. You will be found guilty. You pled guilty in front of the judge. You are found guilty at trial. I understand that by pleading guilty, I am waiving my right to be presumed innocent. And he initials. You have the right to a speedy and public trial, jury trial, before 12 persons. A jury trial is a court hearing to determine whether you are guilty or not guilty. The state must convince all the jurors you're guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Of course, he waived that right to a speedy trial and initialed off on that. Um, if you have the right to question the witnesses testifying against you. This occurs during a jury trial. He's not going to jury trial. He signed off on that. The state has the burden of proving guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Now, here we go with this stuff. Questions regarding ability to enter a plea. Do you read and write the English language? Yes. If not, he says not. Doesn't apply to him. He doesn't need an interpreter. What is
Right.
your true and legal name? Brian C. Koberger.
Should have said Christopher, but okay.
Christopher. Yeah, what
Mhm.
happened there, dude? Too long. What was the highest grade of school you completed? Master's.
Mhm.
Are you currently under the care of mental health professional?
No,
No.
but I need to be.
Right. He says no, but Ann's over there talking about if we go to trial, I need jurors to know something's wrong with with my guy here. But he's like, nope, not under any kind of thing. Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental health disorder? Yes.
Mhm.
If so, what was the diagnosis and when was it made? February of 2025, not 1994, not 2004, not 2022. 2025, he was diagnosed with autism level 1.
But you know what though? Then I'm trying to figure out how Jeremy Saba's mom is in the book, because she was interviewed for the book, right?
Mhm.
Or the different books. How is she bringing up the fact that he has, level 1 autism, like way back when, and she knew this when he was breaking into her house and stuff like that?
Well, didn't we read in one of the court documents about Asperger's or something getting diagnosed when he was younger? And we were
Yeah,
like,
we did.
I
Hmm.
wonder if she's interpreting that as level one autism. I don't
That's
know.
what it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yes,
They
I don't
just have
know if that's
supposedly stopped using the term Asperger's, but
right.
you kind of,
So,
need to still because a lot of people just, don't make the distinction.
oh yeah, well, no, of course not. They don't even know how to distinguish the different levels of autism.
Hmm.
And he says he has OCD, ADHD, and ARFID. Are you
Hmm.
currently prescribed any medication? He says yes. And this is the medication he's on. It's the levothyroxine, and that is also known as Synthroid, and it's thyroid medication. If you answered yes, have you taken your prescription in 24 hours? And he, of course, said yes. Um, in the last 48 hours, have you taken any medications or drugs, including over the counter, or you have consumed any alcoholic beverages that you can believe will affect your ability? And he says no. So he's not on any antidepressants, any anxiety medications, nothing like that. No Ritalin, nothing for hyperactivity or the ADHD. So,
Yeah. Seems to be a pretty cool customer, so it's not surprising.
mhm. Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or other medications? He says no. Are you capable of understanding the proceedings? He says yes. Do you claim that you are mentally incapable of understanding these proceedings? He says no. Is there anything going on in your life that affects your ability to enter a voluntary guilty plea? He says no. Are you having any difficulty understanding what you are doing by filling out this form? No. Is there any reason that you cannot make a reasoned and informed decision in this case? And he says, no. Plea agreement. Is your guilty plea the result of a plea agreement? And he says, yes. If so, what are the terms of the plea agreement? And he wrote, see the attached. If a plea agreement was done, have you read the agreement? He said, yes. Do you understand your agreement? Yes. There are two types of plea agreements. Please initial the one that pertains to you, and he did. His
Hmm.
agreement is binding plea agreement, means the court is not bound by the agreement and sentencing recommendations, blah, blah, blah. Um, has your attorney or anyone else forced or coerced you in any way into accepting this agreement? No. Have any other promises been made to you that have influenced your decision to plead guilty? No. Has anyone told you what your sentence will be? And he wrote yes, or he checked yes.
Hmm.
If so, what have you been promised? He says, what have you been promised? Wow, 4 fixed life sentences. That's what I was promised.
Mm-mm.
Consecutive and without the potential for parole, as well as 10 years. Of course, that's for the burglary. Is
Hmm.
this condition guilty plea in which you are reserving your right to appeal any specified adverse ruling? No. If it is not a conditional guilty plea, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are waiving your right to appeal any ruling made by the judge prior to entering your guilty plea? And he says, yes. Have you waived your right to appeal your sentence as part of the agreement? He says, yes. Potential sentence. I am charged with count one, and then he's got IC 18-1403. Then burglary, count two, and then again with the codes. I understand the minimum and maximum fine and imprisonments. BK, that's 10 years. BK, fixed life. If you plead guilty to more than one crime, do you understand that your sentences for each could be ordered to be served either concurrently or consecutively? And he says yes. Do you understand that if you plead guilty and you commit crimes in the future, this conviction could be considered future case and could cause more severe penalty? And he says yes. So if he gets in jailhouse trouble, could they impose the death penalty at that point? They're getting ready to gear up their firing squad. They getting ready to go.
Mm.
Just saw a new article about that the other day.
Oh,
And
really?
uh-huh, Fixler put it out on Twitter. Because I was like, you know what? Koberger dodged a bullet, but Chad Daybell, he's not going to be so lucky. Maybe he'll be the first one to get the firing squad.
Chad Daybell will probably be sitting on death row for the next, I don't know, 40 years. How old is he?
I don't know. He'll pass out on the way to the firing squad.
Mm,
So he was sure Jesus was coming to exonerate him.
yeah.
In your next life, maybe, Chad. It's all good. You'll have another one. Just go out there
Better
and
luck next time.
get it over with, man. According to some, we sign our contract for our next life. You chose this path. Walk it with pride. Huh. Okay. Choose to come back as something different next time, Chad.
Yeah, really.
Does this crime to which you will plead guilty require you to register as a sex offender? And he says no. Are you aware that if you plead guilty, you may be required to pay restitution? Yes. Are you pleading guilty to a crime for which you may be required to pay the cost of the prosecution and investigation? He's like, no, not sticking me with that. Have you agreed to pay restitution as a condition of your plea? Yes. Do you understand that you cannot withdraw your guilty plea even if the restitution amount is determined to be higher than you thought it might be? The
Oh,
world?
God.
He's like, wait, 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 wait. I changed my mind. Y'all want me to pay back entirely too much money.
Mm,
Dude, where are you going to go? Sit your tail down. I'm already concerned about how you're going to pay all that money you owe these people.
yeah.
Do you understand that if you plead guilty, you will be required to submit a DNA sample and right thumbprint impression to the state? Yeah, we already got my DNA
Yeah.
and my thumbprints, matter of fact. But here, have some more. Are you pleading guilty to a crime? This time you'll go into CODIS, Bubba. You are in CODIS now. Try that again.
Yeah,
Are you
definitely.
pleading right? Are you pleading guilty to a crime for which the court could impose a civil penalty of $5,000 or payable to the victims? He's yes. Do you understand that if you plead guilty to a felony, you have the you will lose your right to vote in Idaho? Yes. Do you understand that if you plead guilty to a felony, you will lose your right to hold public office? Phew, thank God.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you understand if you plead guilty to a felony, you will lose your right to perform jury service? Yes. Do you understand that if you plead guilty to a felony or to a misdemeanor or domestic violence, you will lose your right to purchase or possess a firearm? Yes.
Mm-mm.
No prison firearms for you, buddy. Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, you run the risk if you have new felony charges in the future, you could be charged as a persistent violator. He
Mm,
says yes. Have you had sufficient time to discuss your case with your attorney? Yes. Have you had adequate time to fill out this form? Yes. Have you had adequate access to your attorney's assistant in filling out the form? Yes. Your attorney can obtain various items from the prosecutor relating to your case. This may include police reports, witness statements, tape recordings, photographs, reports, and
mm.
scientific testing. This is called discovery. Have you had the opportunity to review the discovery provided to your attorney? Yes. All that discovery Anne claims she was not getting.
Yeah.
They saw it all. It's called discovery.
Yeah.
Smart assy, smart aleck piece of paper. Coworkers like, don't get smart with me. Don't you make no notations about my little X's on the side in my scribblies.
Yeah.
Do you
Jeez.
want your attorney to take any further action in this case? No. If you are not a citizen of the United States, have you talked to your attorney? He went to go, yes, and then he's like, oh wait, that's not me. Do you understand that not one, including your attorney, can force you to plead guilty? Yes. Are you satisfied with your attorney's representation?
Hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She did the best she could.
Yeah.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you will waive or give up any defenses, both factual and legal, that you believe you may have in this case? He says yes. Did you voluntarily enter mediation? No. Did anyone force you or coerce you into the plea agreement? No. Were you satisfied with the conduct of the mediation? And he says it doesn't apply. Entry of plea, are the answers throughout the form your answers? Yes. Are you entering the plea freely and voluntarily? Yes. Are you admitting to all elements of the crime? Yes. Or are you pleading guilty because you are entering an Alford plea? No. If you are entering an Alford plea, which doesn't apply. um, have you had any trouble answering any of the questions? No. Were you provided an interpreter? And he says doesn't apply. Do you need any additional time before you enter your plea, your guilty plea? He says no.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that the court accepts your plea? Yes. Is there anything else you want to tell the court about why you are pleading guilty? No. He could have wrote mother. Have you discussed the elements of the offense for which you are charged? He says yes. Signed on the June 29th, 2025.
I
And
think that
y'all
was a Sunday, by the way.
think it was?
I remember looking at the date on one of these documents to see when they were working on this.
Right. And then all of his attorneys have signed off on it, and Brian C. Koberger. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, let me get this other one up that I was going to talk about. But before. So, he's not on any kind of crazy medications. What are you laughing about?
Pipsqueak is snoring her little heart out behind me.
Oh,
Yeah. But she stopped because she heard me talking about her. But and it's so funny because Firefly and I were watching something last night. I think we were watching Nancy Grace, and my power had gone out, so I was like streaming it through my phone or whatever. And then all of a sudden, she heard Pipsqueak snoring. She said, "Is that Pipsqueak snoring?" I said, yeah. Oh, sorry, my dog
that's
snores like a little
funny.
old man.
That's funny because usually she'll be the one to doze off, and we're like,
Hmm.
well, so for her to say, "Wait a minute, is that the dog?" It's just like that is not me.
Yeah.
So funny. Okay, let me get that down and get this other screen brought up. And the judge is still. There's other documents about the unsealing of things as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
So let me get this up.
I am waiting for not this second set, the third set is what I'm waiting for. Because that's going to get down into the motions in limine.
All those motions in limine.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm like, gimme, gimme, gimme.
I know. Redacted opposition, and this is the opposition. Why they do that? Opposition to motion to vacate, and then redacted opposition motion to vacate. Well, this what is why? Okay, I don't understand the difference. I didn't even notice that until just now. Okay, this one popped up in there as well, and this is passed, but it
Hmm.
had, let's see. So this was filed opposition to the motion to vacate the non-dissemination order. Comes Brian Koberger through his attorneys hereby requests the court order to maintain the revised non-dissemination order on June 23rd, issued on the 23rd. Now this was showed up in the docket. It was dated for the July 15th.
Hmm.
And the guilty advisory we just read was dated for July 2nd.
Hmm.
Okay, but these both popped up as new with the other new documents. I was like, what? Okay. So Koberger's requesting the order is based on the language of the order had not previously been challenged by the media, the ongoing publicity regarding the case, and threats to Koberger's safety. Now, I only heard about threats to Christy Gonzalez
Yeah.
being made on her phone through a text message during the plea agreement or plea hearing. So I haven't heard anywhere, any news, anybody reporting that his family had even been threatened. So, ongoing threats to Koberger's safety, and ongoing special inquiry and the hold order for all witnesses by the court. Now, she's referring to the leak. The,
Right.
the language of the revised amended non dissemination order was issued on the 23rd of 2023. June 20, June 23rd of 2023, specifically ran through sentencing. In response to significant litigation in Idaho, ruling on this issue in the case, the court issued a revised amended non-dissemination order in June of 2023. By its terms, the order was to remain in full force and in effect until the conclusion of the trial. Um, so she goes on about that. The motion filed by the media to vacate. What the media fails to recognize is that Mr. Koberger retains his right to a fair sentencing proceeding. I don't know how she thought any of that would not give a fair sentencing if the public saw anything, right? The judges see him regardless. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just a last ditch effort to do I don't know what. Then she cites him, the Supreme Court there. In this case, substantial dangers to prejudice Mr. Koberger exist up to and through sentencing. As this court is well aware, there have been numerous leaks and confidential information to the press, and an avalanche of publicity continues to be with the release of the Peacock documentary, The Idaho Student Murders, the Amazon Prime specials on July 11th, and the book by James Patterson. Lifting the revised order now, this is close to the sentencing, would only increase the media frenzy. And then she says there's ongoing public threats in the case to Mr. Koberger's safety. As set forth, uh, the amount of publicity coming before the sentencing, even with the revised order in place, is massive. It's been far more massive about still the victims and survivors, if you
I
want to call
mean,
it whatever
yeah,
they
there
are.
was no slowing this train down, so.
Mm-mm. But for her to be so afraid they're talking about Koberger in such a way when there only a few of us are, or we're like, give us something more to talk about Koberger about, because I'm a little over talking about a damn roommate that didn't do nothing but be drunk and,
Mm.
and careless, and we'll leave it at that.
Mhm.
I would much rather tear down the killer, but give me
Yeah.
something to do. Gimme, like you said. All right, so she's just rambling on about all that. The court has issued records hold about the inquiry, so she's talking now about keeping the gag order in place because they ordered everybody to preserve everything, don't destroy nothing because of the Dateline leak.
Mhm.
Goes in about that. She says when the prosecution said they promised not to talk about anything until after sentencing, she says promising not to speak is to the press is vague. How, we promise not to speak to the press. How vague is that?
I mean, until after sentencing, so
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Don't forget to throw that in there. Just to clarify it, Mr. Koberger requests the court deny the media request to vacate the revised order. Well, up yours, buddy. That's what we say to you, your request there, sir. Game's up.
Has it come out what the reason was that his dad didn't attend the sentencing?
No, haven't. I search for at various times in the day. I'll go like kind of scour around and look for articles or anything that may have popped up here and there.
Mhm.
Anything out of Pennsylvania, even, and I haven't seen anything.
Mm, that's interesting.
I don't know if the Kobergers are really good at dodging people or if the media is not stalking them. You know what I mean? To catch a glimpse,
Mhm.
sort of,
Mhm.
hey, can I talk to you a moment? I don't know what if people are just really respecting them and staying away. Since when? Nate Eaton will chase you down, or not?
Yeah.
And Brian Enton. Well, Nate too. If you're Lori, he'll follow you to Hawaii. Come here, Lori. Where's those kids? I mean, he did land a big interview with her years later. And that was one of my biggest shorts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where I got clipped it when she's like, it's been a long time coming. And this smile on her face, and Nate kind of blushes a little bit because
Mhm.
she flips her pretty Lori hair back. Everybody calls it pretty hair. She
Oh
flips her
gosh.
hair back. It's been a long time coming. Well, yeah, it has.
Mm.
I tracked your tail all the way to Hawaii and you wouldn't talk to me. Okay. So we had one, two, three, four documents dropped in the case. There was an order maintaining sealed status. There was an order unsealing and redacting, another order on unsealing records, and then a second order seeking parties' position. So we're going to start with this one order maintaining sealed status and
Okay.
find out what that's about.
Hmm.
Alrighty, get the screen up here. Guys, I got to reach across the room to get a goody powder. My neck is cold. Well, my shoulder starts to ache a little bit.
Mine are right behind me.
I
That's why
usually
I was laughing.
Girl, I usually have one right here on the desk, and I look over, all I see is a Coke. I'm like, hold on.
I usually keep the box right by the computer. I'm not gonna lie. And you
I'm
said a Coke. I do
saying.
need a Coke now too.
All right, well, let me grab my goodies, and you go grab a Coke. Hang on, I just got to reach across the room. I was wrong. I had to go to the kitchen counter. I thought I had the box sitting over there on the table, but I didn't. Almost panicked. I was like, where's my stuff? All right, 1 second, guys. Let me take this from my achy shoulder. All right. And again, thank you everybody for coming in, unpacking these cases with us, and being a part of the conversation. Appreciate all of that. Please hit the like button on your way in or out, if you don't mind. All right. I'm all back up adjusted now. It is so weird here in Florida that we are not having extreme humidity this time of year. Like, it's hardly any, and I'm almost cold. Y'all are probably going, girl, you're crazy. I don't even know. My old roommate would say, "What's the degrees?" And I'm like, "What? What's the degrees?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." She's like, "What's it, the temperature?" I'm like, "Okay, that's called the temperature, not the degrees." I always catch myself saying, "What degrees is it?" That would be why, because I'm making fun of my roommate. 83 degrees here, but it feels like 88. Y'all, that's a godsend in Florida. All right. Order maintaining sealed status. I gotta pull chat up. I can't see. Okay, now I can see. Oh, turn my phone down though. I have to watch the chat on my phone because it won't. It doesn't show real time for me on the restream on the computer. Okay, there we go. Is it cold in PA already, Carrie? Ugh. I would just freeze to death.
Okay, I'm back.
Salty, are these goodies, or have I just been living in Colorado for too long? Sunflower, guess what? Normally there's a box of goodies sitting here, and there's also a jar of goodies sitting here. You catch my drift?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'm in Florida. It's legal here too. It's my medicine. my medicine. All right. So this is the court finds that the sealed status of the following records identified in the court's August 4th order regarding sealed documents shall remain in effect. And this is for number 9, 18, 25, 26, 27, 30, 31, 35, and 40.
Oh, hold on. Let me.
Okay.
Do you have that document?
I got it pulled up on the screen.
No, the other one for the numbers. Do you want to know what the numbers are?
Oh, I think I got most of them. I know what number 9 is,
Oh.
the, alternate suspects, I think.
Hmm. Uh,
Do you have it pulled up with
no,
a
I was getting ready to. Just let me see. I saw something about the special investigation and
mhm.
new on the
Yeah,
site.
it's in on the
Okay.
Idaho 4 site.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 'cause I was alright, I'll double check that in a minute. Okay, so item 9 must remain sealed as it is replete with identifying information of the proffered alternate perpetrators, the unsealing of which would contravene the privacy concerns of these individuals and likely subject them to unwarranted harassment and
Yeah.
reputational harm. Thus, continued sealing is warranted pursuant to ICAR 32. The remaining identified records all relate to an ongoing and statutorily confidential investigation into potential leaks in the case and are exempt under disclosure. So, number 9 is the only one, that's the alternate perps,
Yep.
and then all the rest pertain to the, investigation to the leaks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Super secret investigation.
yeah, I'm assuming they will release number 9, but with redactions.
Mm-hmm.
The names and all that will be redacted. So that's what he's issued on that, on those particulars in that document. I wonder hmm. Uh-oh. Come up here, screen. Let me hit refresh. Okay, let me Idaho docket. You said there was a new one that came up because I still see 4 on the 3rd.
Maybe I let me go back to that screen. I didn't click on it the other day. It was dated. I think it was down in June 4th, maybe or something. No,
There was a
June 11th and 12th. I see two that say new on my screen.
on in June.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy because let me look again because also the July 2nd and July 15th, like I said, those popped up as new yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I looked further down than that, honestly. Okay, let me look here on my screen and see what we got.
And they're both related to the special investigation. Motion to seal state's response to defendant's motion regarding special
I see, you're
investigation and
right.
then the order.
So we
Mm-hmm.
got I'm sorry, June 11th. So motion to seal the state's response to defendant's motion for special investigation and then the order sealing. So those are just going to be like standard. Let me see what it says here. A 3-page. Okay, let me get the screen up here.
I
All
don't
right.
see anything else new below it.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. Motion
Mm-hmm.
to seal state's response to the defendant's motion on special investigation. Comes now, State of Idaho, by and through Latah County. Prosecuting attorney hereby moves the court pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule and Idaho Code for an order sealing the state's response to the defendant's motion on the special investigation. All information related to appointment of a special prosecutor is under seal and is not appropriate for any related filings. And of course, the judge did end up signing off on that. So I still wonder who's going to be in trouble when they find out who that leaker was. I've
I
got,
kind of think they already know.
I think they do too, and I think
Mhm.
I got
Mhm.
an idea of who. I don't think it's multiple people.
Right.
I think it could be just one who was like, you know what, I'm tired of being called a bad cop. I'm tired of everybody on the internet saying this guy didn't do it.
Gosh.
I can't even be a cop no more. Okay.
I actually had somebody else in mind.
Oh. Oh
But
shit.
yeah, you're right. He would be the person that passed the info. But yeah.
Oh boy. Who's your person of interest?
Well, after seeing,
You're
what
not
was
under
it? Was it
oath, ma'am.
Nancy's
Oh.
interview? Nancy Grace's interview
Uh-huh.
with the Gonzaleses, and what was it they said? They said they had a Zoom meeting with the judge. I think it was like the families and the
Yeah.
judge, and the judge said something specifically to Steve. Basically, I think he told him to sit down and shut up or whatever, or that he needed to sit
I
down and shut up. Something to that effect, right? What
I've
was it?
heard, I don't know.
Mhm.
I didn't recall seeing that anywhere myself, but I
Mhm.
heard about that last night. That
Mhm.
Hippler supposedly told Steve G on a Zoom to sit down and be quiet.
Mhm.
Don't talk to the media. It wasn't going to bring Kaylee back. And I was like,
Right?
where the fuck
Yeah.
did that come from?
Mhm. And so you got to think that this happened probably before,
But
sentencing and everything, because I'm also looking at the way that, thinking about the way that Hitler was looking at Steve when Steve was reading his statement.
you think Hippler was leaking shit to Steve?
No, I
Oh,
think that Hitler suspects Steve because the way that
yeah,
he was looking, during
I
that, it
agree.
just,
But
yeah.
here's the thing. Steve G only knows whatever was leaked to him.
Right. No, I know.
Yeah. But this interview people are talking about, or this information about Hippler telling Steve G to shut up,
Hmm.
I don't know where that's coming from.
They said it.
I know, but you said it was where on a Nancy Grace
I
interview?
just, what was, yeah, Nancy Grace, the one that she just did with the G's, like,
Yeah, it
I don't
was
know,
she
a
did
day
a
ago or whatever.
yeah,
Maybe
she
it's been
did
two now.
yeah, she just did a interview recently. And I
Hmm.
watched a little bit of it. I didn't finish watching it. So, maybe we need to review that. Where the hell did it Oh,
I mean, because think
I need
about
the
it.
whole context, right? Well,
Oh yeah,
We
oh
know how
yeah.
the G's speak. You and I got those 2 down pretty good, on how to take them when
Oh, it
they're
was
talking.
Judge. Betsy Ross says it wasn't Hippler. It was Judge.
Oh,
I
good
don't think
lord.
so. Judge doesn't have enough backbone to tell somebody that.
Yeah, it's hard to picture Judge. Now, Hitler's different story. I could see him saying something to people, but Judge is gonna sit there and think about it for a minute. Is this gonna come off as being nice? I don't know.
I know they never said it was Hippler, Betsy, but think about it. The families weren't really going before Judge for anything because
No, they
the
didn't.
prosecution and the defense were going back and forth, and all that. So the families at that point, when it was in Latah, they weren't, talking to the judges or really as involved as they were when it moved to Ada County.
I'd have to watch that interview and get the whole context of the conversation.
So a year ago is still in Hippler's court.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an order unsealing and redacting the records and the following documents identified in the court's August 4th, 2025 regarding the sealed documents objected to at least in part by one or both parties are to be unsealed, though several with redactions. items 2, 4, 7, 10, 12, 19, 20, 33, 34, 38, 39, 42, and 43. The basis for the unsealing and redacting are as follows. 725 orders modifying the amended no contact. Um, that's going to be unsealed. Exhibits S1 to state's response to the defendant's 24th supplemental request for discovery. The name of the individual identified within this document has already been widely disseminated by the media. Thus, there is no justification under ICAR to warrant the continued shielding of her name. Are we talking about Dylan? However, the court orders that the individual's date of birth be redacted. In addition, the state's assigned AV and Bates numbers identifying the location of the discovery is not protected work product. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
sir. Because I was trying to figure that out. I'm like, what are they really calling the Bates number the work product? Because that's just a number on a page. So we could all identify where it's at.
Um, Betsy says Hippler was the one that lifted the gag order that was on the families. That's not true because the families were never under the gag order.
Uh-uh.
And that was when they were in Latah County. Shannon Gray went before Judge. He stood up in court. Remember, he had on some, I
Yep.
forgot what he had on that we were clowning.
Yeah, we were clowning on Shannon.
Did he wear sneakers and a suit or
Yeah, he
something?
wears a
Sneakers and a
sneaker.
blazer or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, they went. He went before Judge, and then they were like, "What are you talking about? The families aren't gagged," and that was back in Judge's court.
The only ones under a gag order were officers of the courts and any investigators who worked the case. The families themselves were never under a gag order. Um, Anything they was going to testify about, of course, they can't talk about. But they had their attorney to guide the way. But yeah, they were never, and there was a lot of things they weren't being told. And then apparently somebody was leaking a lot of things. And
Oh yeah.
Steve G has been leaking stuff out for 2 years.
He's been hemorrhaging,
Yeah, it didn't
news
just
for
start. Yeah,
years.
it didn't
Yeah.
just start with Dateline. Someone just
Uh,
finally got fed up enough by the time Dateline was going to air or getting ready to film their little show, and I wouldn't be
and
surprised if he didn't hook them up.
Wait a minute. Speaking of Dateline, though, have you seen their little podcast, like, that's separate from, their
Yeah,
series on YouTube? Like, I can't remember who the
that
interviewer
guy's,
is.
I forget
Yeah,
his name.
but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He basically ratted out Steve because he said something about Steve, and
Uh-oh.
them talking to Steve or whatever. I was like, does he realize what he just said? Yeah.
my- Oh, there we go. Roll my shadow. Okay. Um, so they're going to unseal with redact her birthday. Exhibit W to defendant's 24th supplemental request. The name of the individual identified within this document has been widely disseminated as well. And also, it's a her, so is that Bethany?
Which you
It's,
said for the 24th request?
yeah, both of these were.
Oh, I don't know. That's so late.
We have this one up here was the 20 S1, the 24th discovery, and it's talking about a her and just redacting her birthday. And then when you go down here, you got the juror questionnaire stuff will be unsealed. And then you go to the next one is another exhibit W on the 24th supplemental. And again, with the name of an individual, and it's a her.
Oh, oh.
So you got two separate
Expert
ones.
witnesses. Remember the special investigator or that was trying to get, she wanted more testing done or whatever for the
Yeah.
mitigation phase,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to. I don't know. I don't think they identified her. They did. They redacted her in documents, but we knew it was a female. I bet you that's who it is.
Well, they've already talked about uh, in his first order about the redactions of lay witnesses versus expert witnesses.
Hmm.
So this is two different exhibits. I don't know if they're the same person or not. They're both about an individual and they're both a female.
Well, you know
Uh,
what? I think there are two females. I think the
yeah,
investigator was a female, and then the
the
doctor
doctor was a
was, I
female.
think, also a female. Hmm.
Mhm. Yep. So this one is 618, the court minutes for that closed session on the concerning the alternate perps. Although there is there is no longer a justification under ICAR warrant the continued sealing of the entire document. There were discussions recorded within the minutes that require protection. First, the minutes 1.31.52 refer to identifying information offered of the proffered alternate perpetrators,
Mm.
the revealing of which could contravene the privacy and concerns of these individuals and likely subject them to undue harassment. Thus, the reference will be redacted. And second, the minutes starting at 136 through 207 document discussing discussions regarding the status of an ongoing investigation into potential leaks. So they'll release the recording, but they'll redact those specific time slots. One concerning the alternate perps and the other part about the leak. Okay. This information is exempt from disclosure under the ICAR codes. Okay. They will be redacted. Then we got 613, defendant's reply to the state's objection to the defendant's offer of proof, alternate perps, and evidence in support. There is no further justification to warrant the continued sealing. However, interests of the privacy is to guard against likely harassment. They will redact some of the information. State's motion to amend the witness list and supplemental expert disclosure. No further justification. The name of the retained expert witness identified in this filing was previously revealed publicly in this
Hmm.
case, and the unsealing of the document with the expert's name is unlikely to result in undue harassment, and
Hmm.
that one will be unsealed. 6.9, order granting defense expert analysis of evidence. Although there is no further justification to warrant continued sealing of the entire order, the court's order is again to redact the identifying information in that document. State's response to the defendant's motion for independent analysis on 6.6, there is no longer justification to do that as well. The sole objection was the revealing of the expert's name and address, but the information is not included in the filing. Consequently, it shall be unsealed without redactions. 6.625 for independent analysis. See number 33, supra. 6.6 states objection to the defendant's offer of proof, alternate perps, and the defendant's evidence in support of. There is no further justification to warrant the continued sealing. Again, they will redact any of the identifying information. The unsealing of this filing, however, does not extend to the appended table of contents
Mm.
listing the state's exhibits to the filing, nor does it apply to the exhibits themselves, which shall remain sealed.
Great.
Girl, I gotta soak that in for a second. Hold up. What? What are we remaining sealed? Uh, the table of contents will be remain
Hmm.
sealed as well as the exhibits.
Right, because the table of contents would identify the exhibits.
Exactly. I got the whole table of contents in the Frank's motion in the Delphi case. I want to see Ann's Frank's motion unsealed. There we go. There is no further justification under ICAR to warrant the continued sealing of the filings. In addition, the redactions requested by the state will not be made. The state's assigned AV and Bates numbers identifying the location are not protected under work product. Further, the release of the names of law enforcement officers and experts disclosed as testifying witnesses in this case do not implicate privacy concerns sufficient to warrant redaction. Thus, the filings shall be unsealed without redactions. And then there's Exhibit V of the 23rd supplemental request, and it says the item will be unsealed consistent with the court's ruling related to item 42, signed by Judge Hippler. Okay. Get this one up here. And this one is super short. And then there's one more after this one. Let me pull this one up. Okay, so for this one, order unsealing records based on parties' lack of objection and the fact that none of the factors listed under ICAR warrant continued sealing of the material. The court hereby orders the unsealing of the following records identified in the court's August 4th ruling on the documents: 1, 3, 6, 13, 14, 15, 16, 21, 22, 23, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 37. I wonder how long it will take them to start feeding those into the docket.
What, these?
Yeah, the ones that they know they're going to unseal, and then it's, to get the ones in that they're going to do the redactions on. Those shouldn't be too
Mm-hmm.
hard either. The clerk of court will handle that. But those redactions shouldn't be too hard. If you're going through just omitting names and phone numbers and addresses and birthdays, whatever. Okay, so now this last one here, let's get that one up. All right. There we go. Like, it took a second. All right. Second order seeking parties' position regarding the sealed documents. This is going to be the second batch that they're going to be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
As the court noted, its prior order regarding sealed documents entered on August 4th, 2025, as part of the process to review sealed records to determine which should be unsealed. The court will process the review of those documents from newest to oldest. The next batch of documents concerning which the court will require the parties to indicate whether they have an objection to unsealing any specific document or portion thereof are identified below. The response must identify each document by date, name, and number, and each document identified in the order. The parties must file their response, including, if appropriate, a notice of non-objection by September 19th. So they've got until the 19th to sign off on this batch. And what he was
Okay.
going like 45 at a time, I think he said, right?
43. Mm-hmm.
43 at a time. So we just reviewed all the first batch, because he had them come back and say, okay, get specific about what you want sealed. So they just got through discussing that whole entire first batch. So this will pertain to the second batch. Parties proposed stipulated jury instructions. That was back on 5/30. On the 28th of May, states proposed supplemental jury instructions. The 28th of May, defendants amended Phase 2 mitigation witness list. May 27th, the Exhibit S2 to state supplemental rebuttal under the penalty phase. Again, May 27th, S1, the penalty phase again, and then another one on the 27th as well. So there's 3 in total there. Then we have the 23rd of May, the defendant's evidence in support of proof for the alternate perps. We can at least see the unredacted evidence that they don't have to have a name attached, right? Let me see why you felt like they were alternate perpetrators, 523, we have the objection to the court's request for the defense to submit a redacted copy of the ex parte filing. 522, Exhibit F to defendant's sixth supplemental response. 522, defendant's sixth supplemental response. Lord, please let us see all those requests.
Yeah.
521, defendant's objections to the juror questionnaires. Then in May 21st, we had court minutes, and then court minutes again on the 15th. Those are the closed sessions that were held back then. On 514, the defendant's offer approved for the alternate perps. 514, second notice of filing, defendant's proposed instructions. 514, notice of state's amended exhibit list and motion to seal. On the 13th, we had the Exhibit S1 to state's motion to reclaim exhibits. 5-9, parties' joint proposed jury instructions regarding tip leading to investigation of defendant. The jury instruction regarding, remember, they weren't allowed to come in and say IGG was used. They were going to come in and say a tip, so that'd be the wording, the verbiage of that. To defend, 5-5, we had the defendant's phase 2 mitigation witness list. And again, on the 5th, court minutes. On the 1st of May, reply in support of state's motion to examine defendants pursuant to IC, an extension of time. On the 29th of April, defendant's objection to state's motion for examination of defendants pursuant to Idaho Code, which is also about the extension of time. Back in April, we also had the Hurett Declaration in support for examination. Who was that guy? I can't remember for sure.
Oh shoot! Ooh, you would ask that.
Yeah,
I
engaged.
know the name.
I know these. Like, I got to get these.
Let me
I'm
see.
gonna make a note to look it back up.
Wait, was that the additional attorney?
Oh,
Yes.
for the
Special deputy prosecuting attorney. Yeah.
prosecutor, the attorney. Yeah, you're right. And then
And then
Gage.
Gage. I don't see Gage on there. Gage. Sounds familiar.
I don't know if I've seen a Gage besides 12 Gauge.
Yeah, let me see. No, there's definitely somebody in here named Gage. Um, hmm. Maybe one of the expert witnesses, but I'm trying to think.
Maybe.
I don't remember right now.
I don't either. State's motion for examination of defendant pursuant to Idaho Code, extension of time. That was back in April. Defendant's phase 1 lay witness list, the state's exhibits list. Yes, exhibits list should have a sheath on it, right?
Mm.
Not a box we were going to put one in that we ordered off the Amazon, but the one we found under the body. The knife may have went into a box that we ordered off the Amazon. Remember when the judge was talking about the box they were going to put a knife in and pass it around
Like
to
the
the
display
jury?
box.
Mm.
Yeah.
Here's what we think he used. Would the judge have even allowed that, I wonder? Or would they have just placed I would have been fine. If I was a defense attorney, I'd have fought that all day long. Nope, all you got is that sheath. You put that in your little fancy box. Because you don't need everybody putting their transfer DNA all over it. God, Lord forbid. State's witness list, defendant's objections to the state's requested jury instructions, the state's response to the defendant's proposed instructions, defendant's second response to the exhibit S1, defendant's second response to the state's first supplemental request, good God Almighty, exhibit E to defendant's fifth supplemental request, defendant's fifth request, state's requested jury instructions back in April. That's there twice. Also in April, state's trial brief, the defendant's trial brief. Back in April, also the proposed jury instructions, defendant's response to the state's first supplemental request, transfer of test materials. Remember when that was filed? Exhibit 4 in support of defendant's objection to state's motion in limine regarding the AT&T timing advance. I
Yep.
was I was just watching somebody's trial last night, not the whole trial. I was watching a portion of a trial,
Mhm.
and there was cell phone people on there talking about the timing data.
Oh, okay. Was
Yeah.
it an old trial?
No, it was fairly new, so I'm gonna have to go back in my
Hmm.
history in a little while.
When you
And
find it,
look,
let me know.
yeah, I need to look at that and watch it again. Sometimes my brain be watching too many things at the same time almost. Like as soon as I watch one, I'm watching another, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I really wanted to look at that a little deeper, so I got to do that. Let me do that. Um, Defendant, because remember there was that big hoopla about well they didn't carry the records or retain those
Mhm.
records after May whatever it was of 2022 23. So it was like right after, yeah, it was the whole thing. So I have to look
Mhm.
at that more. I don't want to misspeak here on it. So AT&T timing advance records, and then you got Exhibit D to defendant's forced supplemental response to discovery. Then you notice of the defense expert disclosure, and then Exhibit S1 to the state's first supplemental request for discovery. So all of that is being worked out still. Um, We'll have to see how long that takes, how long all that plays out. Let me take a look at. I haven't checked to see if Pennsylvania's put anything new out, or I don't think Latah County can or will until the judge makes a decision over there on the injunction that was filed.
Mhm. Yeah, I haven't checked anywhere. 91 to 124. Yep.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Duh. I don't know how long it will take that judge to make a ruling over there.
Oh my God. Why are people so fixated on Ray? I just read
Yeah.
Sunflower's comment.
Are they still?
Yeah. Did you see the last comment?
Okay, I knew I was in a crazy Delphi chat when I saw people saying Rick Allen just needs Ray. Like what? Okay, well, first of all, Rick Allen don't need anything. He's got a couple of really good appellate attorneys doing their thing right now as we speak, trying to get the money up to go visit their client far, far away in another state. That's a whole other issue. We need a really good cell phone analysis in Delphi, kind of like Nick Balance of the FBI. Would have been great. But Delphi's like, no, FBI, we don't need you here.
Mm.
But we got a lot of issues with Libby German's cell phone, including the fact that we gave it back to the family and then took it back later
Mm.
to re examine again.
Jesus.
And we still, and it's pinging here and pinging there, coming on randomly here and going off there, headphones plugged in, headphones not. We got a bunch of issues over there. Ray can't help nobody in the Delphi situation. Hell, Paul Holes couldn't even help Delphi. What is Ray? What is, not who is, what is?
Yeah.
Ray is a cell phone data expert, and I use the term loosely. He was set to testify. Well, he testified once in a hearing for Koberger. He was set for the defense, claiming there was a 7-minute discrepancy somehow, somewhere in these phone data situation with Koberger. He was going to testify, but he also said in the hearing he reserved the right to change his mind once more information came in. And apparently it came in because we never heard from again. So there's that.
Mm.
Yeah, he's lost in.
Yeah.
He got
He
lost.
went dark after that,
Yeah,
right?
he did. He scrubbed everything. He's like,
Hippler called him a conspiracy theorist, and
did.
yeah.
He certainly did. And you got the damn judge calling you out in court, televised, and then conspiracy theorist. Okay, so Moscow has not put anything new out.
Okay.
Let's see, what about Idaho State? Police, nothing new since the photo drops. And let's check for. Oh, did I click? Oh, that was Pullman, sorry. Oh, wait. No, it's just taking its ever loving time. Oh, my computer's like, I'm tired, girl. Mhm. The only thing that I did see that when I was looking at this yesterday was that crazy email from that guy named, what's his name? I wrote it down. Chris. He wrote, let me pull it up, see if it'll pull up here. It was having an issue pulling up yesterday. Hmm. Okay. Oh, heck. Why did it go away like that? So we have a weird guy that was, remember how we were reading that like somebody was calling the FBI up multiple times, giving crazy leads and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
This guy was like that. Let me get back to the damn website.
216 pages.
What is?
Oh, I'm doing my own little discovery dump.
Oh, okay. It was in the Pullman records. Okay, let me get this. Okay. It's taking its time. It wouldn't be that. It's this one. Click the email. I had the hardest time getting their little website to cooperate yesterday. Okay, now I think I got it come up.
Who? ISP or?
Yeah, now we're
Oh.
back. Okay, so Christopher Robert Neal, that's who this is from.
Mm-hmm.
And it says at the top here, it was a series of emails, it looks to me. So the top one says, to Pullman, Seattle, Police Department, WSU, Seattle Media, FB something, I can't read it, it's too small. So he goes on and emails it to several people. Okay, subject Andy Fry, now of OSU Cascades, which I didn't even look that up yet, formerly of WSU Pullman Housing senior staff and cousin or son of the Moscow, Idaho police chief, and I had one friendly possible date on campus. His promotion made it unprofessional to date. So he says they had a couple of dates. Then this guy got a promotion. Then they couldn't date. It would be unprofessional. He
Okay.
set room assignments. He had a boyfriend live with him before, so it is not outing. And he kept mentioning boys showering during training. He could have accessed the apartment to frame Brian Christopher Koberger. This was
Mm.
sent Tuesday, January 24th, 2024. So accusing the chief's nephew or son, he's not sure which one the guy is.
Mm-hmm.
And he spells Fry wrong or different than the way the chief spells it.
Mm.
Okay. So then they look the guy up, and then he has another email here. I think they has sent. Okay. This one was January. Okay. Residents' life has significantly expanded their staff, and they face all being fired and replaced. My students and the resident assistants and other student staff should be returning to campus today or tomorrow to begin service and training. If Griffin Hogan and Jack Van Dam have guns and are concerned, they might choose this moment to act. That is my guess. I worked with them 5 months ago. Sexually harassed and assaulted by senior staff, and Hogan stole my Facebook stories, smart glasses, and my demands to return them on work social got me banned and threatened. Ask
Mm,
FBI or state about me. For now, protect WSU. No Uvalde. If you don't act, please, and at least use drones. The hell?
mm,
C.R. Neal, you need help, Bubba. On the,
yeah.
another one, he wrote Washington State University housing is the same day, 22nd. University State Housing and Residence Life had access to Brian Christopher Koberger's apartment on campus and could have taken with gloves, and they stock his personal knife, which they are allowed to have, and left it underneath the woman who died, Concalves, in Idaho, without him ever walking in the room. And there are people who are his size and build working now for housing who wearing a mask would have appeared to look like him, and I accused of having a gun.
Mm.
Why? Because he is a criminologist and was close to solving a case on campus per se. I wonder who wrote this, who pretended to be Christopher Neal. I feel like I've heard that name mentioned before per se. This information will raise reasonable doubt and should be offered to the Moscow Police Department so that it can get to the attorneys responsible. And as I have open litigation as a Native American directly with these individuals, not through your courts,
Jesus.
which I can't trust at the moment because I am
Hmm.
working against state bars of a, of attorneys to clear up their legal status. Good God, as legal or profiteering. And then, man, this dude must be tired.
Yeah.
And so I'm working directly on my case because I'm trained to do so. It's possible that they took and placed his knife, which is why his DNA is on it. Yeah, okay, it's a possibility. And his attorney even said that one time in a Friday filing. And yeah, so that's the weird stuff, you know? I mean, weird.
Yeah.
Yes, Sunflower, it was real. Somebody was emailing that stuff,
There are a lot of kooks out there.
and there's the guy the whole time. Here I am. Look, ma, no hands. Wait, what?
Where?
What is he listening to? Is he talking to mama right then? His mother like, son, send me a picture. I want to make sure you shaved. You're not looking so hot. You got to go to school and make a good impression. Is that better, mom? Mother? Is this guy an attorney the same way Cyray is a cell expert? I don't even think Cyray's put out a podcast lately.
I mean, really, has anybody done a welfare check on the man?
For real, let's hold up. What's his
Because
name
I
of
know certain creators have been looking for him,
Oh, I know. Come back, do another interview, Cy.
and others are like, "Oh, he's coming. I've talked to him." Like, yeah,
Sure you
okay.
have. Eh,
Hmm.
and pigs fly every day. I just saw one. Um, what's the name of his damn podcast?
Oh, I don't know. I never watched him.
I did like twice. Um, I could even see his wife sitting there, but I can't remember what
Where
it's
do these come?
called. If you type in his name, does anything come up? We'll have to watch his testimony one day just for shits and giggles and laugh and laugh.
Oh
Oh, here
yeah.
we go. Socialite Crime Club.
Oh,
Let's see when the last time they had a live was. Let me look. So yeah, it's called Socialite Crime Club, hosted by Cyril and his wife. 10 months ago was the last live they did.
Mm. Wow.
Any videos they've put out 10 months ago as well.
Mm.
Hmm. So yeah, Cy's gone dark. He's
Hmm.
probably using forensic data wiping tools that he told Anne about but kept secret.
Oh God.
He reserved the right to change his mind about that 7 second discrepancy that went that away and that away. Yeah, that one. That
Hmm.
one. I had somebody trying to tell me the other day about some Syray stuff. I'm like, look, you mean a little 7 minute discrepancy? Something social club or something, right? Socialite social club. Here with all your answers. And we know that Cy had that company and he sold his company, but there was a Colorado case where Cy Ray wasn't allowed to testify in. Um, and then there was that one case that Shorty was covering, Santello, Rachel, was it Rachel? And Cy was testifying for prosecution.
Mm.
And I went and watched a little bit of it, but I was unimpressed.
Yeah.
I was not, I was impressed when I watched Cy Ray's testimony I'm not Cy Ray, Nick Balance testify in Chad Daybell's case, right? And Lori's case. I
Hmm.
was super impressed. So when the name popped up in the Idaho case, I was like, yeah, bring it on. So I was down to watch Cy duke it out with his old buddy if he was still down for it. Yeah, I gave him the I reserve the right to change my mind story. uh, I would have liked to have called him to the stand. Sir, have you reserved that right to change your mind yet? Now that our
Yeah.
Miss Heather over here says that our guy was using forensic data wiping tools. So I was like, well, yeah. And what about that guy who was making the rounds talking to some peeps? What's his name? Garrett Discovery guy. Where are
Oh
you
yeah,
at,
that guy.
mister? Where are
Hmm.
you at, sir? With your We Found Coburger's what Instagram before it was scrubbed or deleted or whatever he claimed,
Hmm.
whatever those claims were. We need follow-ups to those cases, to
Yeah.
those opinions. Okay, let me see. Um, okay, maybe can you send me that PDF? Maybe we'll get that unredacted copy after all. Okay, I was just checking to see if anything's popped off that we don't know about. I know, um, well, I think the Haros finally had their arraignment, but I don't know what happened because I'm kind of sick of baby people. I don't like baby killers, so I just ignored it. I don't know what happened over there. And then there was the crazy case. It's not a crazy case. It's happened before.
Hmm.
The 21-year-old University of Kentucky cheerleader who gave birth and hid the baby in the closet. I mean,
Oh
girl,
wow.
yeah,
No, I hadn't
beauty
heard that one.
pageant, yeah, beauty pageant queen. She had her arraignment for that. There's chatter like on Facebook, different things. People saying, some say people said she knew about the pregnancy, some say she didn't tell about the pregnancy, she hid the pregnancy, but she was on the stunt team.
Mm.
And back in May, she was doing stunts for the
Hmm.
cheerleading squad. Um, how did she hide gaining weight? Did nobody ever? There's a whole lot of questions still with that case. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's a young 21-year-old college student, and apparently she gave birth to the baby and then hid the baby in the closet. And from what I gathered last night, I don't know if it was a roommate or what it was, noticed a smell and
Ugh.
began to investigate exactly.
Ugh.
So I'll look for a little more on that and see how it unpacks. As we move forward. Guys, I'm not going to be on here all day today. Honestly, I don't feel that great. I feel like I need to just like take a nap.
I
I don't
just
know.
reached for my goody powders.
Did you?
Hmm.
That girl showed up, and I noticed that sunflower. She did. Let me see. What was her
A
name?
bright red dress.
Oh shit, what's her name?
No big deal.
Yeah, she did. She showed up. I know I have it on my history. She showed up with a red dress, lipstick on,
Dang.
and here she is. When I went to
Oh, yeah,
her,
let me see her.
okay, let me get this screen up. This is a long crime piece that they did. I went and looked at her Facebook already and at the pictures, and it's like, man, a lot of posts about signing your little girls up for pageants.
Mm.
Cheerleader accused of hiding dead baby's body in a trash bag in a closet. We have the autopsy and video of her in court per WBIR TV. Lakin Snelling is now out on bond. She's living with her mom and dad on house arrest. What this autopsy tells us about what happened inside of her home and what it could mean for the charges that this former beauty queen is now facing. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. This story is so difficult to comprehend, and it's also so important to remember that there's so much that we still don't know about what happened and about the 21-year-old girl who is at the center of this case. This is video of that 21-year-old college student. Her name is Lakin Snelling. This is video of her in court earlier this week per WBIR TV. She appeared in a red dress. She pleaded not guilty to charges of abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. Snelling posted a $100,000 bond, and she's now on house arrest, living with her mom and her dad. She does not have to wear an ankle monitor. Now, before I get to what this autopsy found, let me break down how all of this started, because we have to go back to last week, August 27th in Lexington, Kentucky, and that's when police were called to the house of Lakin Snelling for a report of an unresponsive infant. The child was pronounced dead on scene, according to police. WLEX TV says that police say the baby was found dead inside a closet. Then there's an arrest citation that says the infant was wrapped in a towel inside of a black trash bag. The citation goes on to say that Snelling reportedly was read her rights, and she allegedly admitted that she gave birth to that baby, and we have since learned it was a baby boy. She then says that she concealed the birth by cleaning evidence and putting all cleaning items inside of that black trash bag along with the body of her newborn son, who was wrapped in a towel, according to police. Now, it's still unclear how old that baby was or just how far along Snelling was in her pregnancy when she gave birth. What we do know about Snelling is that she's a student at the University of Kentucky in Lexington. In fact, she was a member of the school's stunt cheerleading team, and that's a big deal. The University of Kentucky, we're talking about a large D1 school. They're a member of the SEC. Snelling is also a former beauty queen. She often posts on social media about pageants. I also want to show you this picture here because this is Snelling on the Kentucky Wildcats official website. Now, what didn't appear on Snelling's social media was, from what we could see, any talk about being pregnant. It appears that she stopped posting pictures of herself in April of this year. Now, that's obviously not a crime, but that could raise questions about her allegedly hiding her pregnancy and keeping it out of sight. Now, another shocking part of all of this is that it appears that she presented herself as someone who had aspirations to one day be a mom. This is the last post that she had on TikTok. It's from June, and it's a picture of her with emojis that describe her. And in the bottom left, we notice there is one that says goals, and it shows an emoji of a mom with a child. Now, it's unclear what has been going on in Snelling's life and the circumstances surrounding what allegedly happened inside her home last week off campus in Lexington. Now, we did find these pictures of her with a man. It's unclear if he's the baby's father or what he knew about what allegedly happened to Snelling's baby boy and what happened inside that home. At the time of this recording, though, no one else has been charged in this case. just Snelling. But police have said the investigation is continuing. Now, we did get this autopsy that came back of that infant that Snelling allegedly said that she gave birth to inside her home. The Fayette County coroner ruled the cause of death inconclusive for that infant boy. Now, this was the preliminary autopsy result that came back, so more tests are going to be done to figure out how this baby died. It's also unclear officially at this point how police found out that the baby was born inside of Snelling's home and how they came about this case. Now, at the time of this recording, this is not a murder case. It's important to be very clear about that since we don't know the cause of death of this baby boy. Abuse of a corpse and tampering with physical evidence under Kentucky law are both Class D felonies, and they typically result with a prison sentence between 1 and 5 years. Snelling, again, living at home with mom and dad, no ankle monitor, out on $100,000 bond. She is due back in court in Kentucky on September 26th for a preliminary hearing. In putting this story together, we typed Laken Snelling's name into truthfinder.com, and it came back showing that she has no criminal record. Now, we use Truthfinder often in the stories that...
Okay, well, then when they're truth finding push. So yeah, that's the story, Dalton.
Dang.
That's and I saw the
Wow.
comment there, Sunflower. Yeah, I had my first baby at 21. No, this girl knew what she was doing. And how do you not know you're pregnant? I don't understand that one. All them girls have claimed I didn't know I was pregnant, never knew it. You never felt that that baby didn't move not one time. Did you think that was gas
Yeah, that's
moving around in your belly, a little air? No, the baby never hauled off and kicked you one good time. If your baby did not kick the entire time you were pregnant, there's something wrong with your baby.
yeah.
I don't buy that. I didn't know stuff. Honey, when that baby hauls off and kicks you and you got to go to the bathroom and it gets you in the bladder, oh Lord, it could be all over within a moment's notice. But yeah, don't know if people really knew she was pregnant yet or if it was something she hid. I don't know. They say that some of these girls will wear oversized clothing, but if you go from a little show it all off kind of girl and you're a cheerleader and you're wearing the tight clothing and all the things, and you suddenly start wearing the hoodies and the big pullovers and the no one's going to notice your habit changes and whatnot. Yeah. And today she's entitled, arrogant person. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And what are her parents saying to her right now? What does a parent say when your daughter does something like that? You know, but
Oh man, that reminded me of something that happened similar in high school. A girl that I knew, a friend of mine who was like a year or two ahead of me, did the same thing. Was living with her parents, hid the pregnancy because she was a little chunky, gave birth to the baby, and put the baby in the trunk of her car and went to work.
oh
I kid
wow.
you not. I found out about it on the news. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wow. And that's why we have those drop off locations today, the safe harbors or safe places to drop babies off.
Hmm.
The fire departments and the ERs with no questions asked, you just bring them and leave them. It was born out of the need because young girls were doing this. It was almost like what was the early 2000s, I think it was, when this was like prevalent. It was like happening. And
Yeah, it's pretty
then it was,
nuts.
well, we didn't know they were pregnant, and I remember the first time I ever heard that, I thought, man, how do you not know? I mean, good God. Yeah, Alexia Treviso. I remember that case too. It was so very tragic that for a girl to think there's no other options, in no way. And just, I can't wrap my head around they're hiding this. They're hiding it. I don't buy that people didn't know. Someone didn't know. Your boyfriend never touched you. You never said, honey, what's happening here? A baby bump. There's a difference between gaining weight and a baby bump. Let's get real. It may be
Yeah,
harder for some people to tell. I don't know. I'm a very tiny person, so it's real obvious if I'm pregnant. Like super freaking obvious. So, Anyway, she'll get what's coming to her. I mean, but home with no ankle monitor, even that's not showing her uh, punishment for your potential crimes. There,
Yeah.
letting her go home was one thing, but not even with an ankle monitor is ridiculous. Um, Baby didn't get there alone. It had help getting into that closet. And if they suspect she did it, where's her ankle monitor like everybody else's, that would be released like that. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you go for the day. I'm going to go grab some lunch and just take it easy. It's Friday. Unless something big happens sometime today, you will not see me over the weekend. But I'll be back on Monday morning as usual. I don't know what Joe's got planned. I think he did a little pop up yesterday after he got settled in once he got over to CrimeCon. Really?
Oh,
I think
cool.
he got pulled over by a cop when he left his house.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what he said on his way to the airport, I think it was. But anyway, he's okay. He got there safely. Y'all, all the good things. So, anyway, Miss Woozy, you all guys have a blast this weekend at Crime Con. Have fun. All the good things. Yeah, everybody have a great weekend.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you all for
definitely.
being here. Dolphin, thanks for coming up and hanging
Hey, no
out with
problem. You're
us.
welcome.
Always good to see you. If you feel like coming up on Monday, you're welcome to do so. Maybe maybe sometime today or this evening they'll have some documents dropped that we can get into. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
If
we
they
should do a
do,
watch party tonight if possible
I thought
for
about that. I
2020.
I actually did ask. I don't even know if you saw that message or not. So,
No, I haven't seen anything
because
yet.
I
Mm-mm.
do plan to watch that tonight on 2020, guys. If so, yeah, if you guys have a way to watch that tonight, again, it will air on 2020 tonight. They're special on the Idaho 4 case, and it looks like they have more leaked information to share. So it'll be curious to see if they have anything different that we don't know yet, see what their take is on this whole situation. So yeah, Dolphin, I'll get up with you here in just a little bit.
Okay.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great weekend, and I'll see you around these YouTube streets somewhere. Y'all have a good night.
Yep.
See
Take
you.
care, guys.
See you later. Bye, everyone.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from little Yas to each of you.